The views and opinions expressed by the following program are those of the host, guest, and callers and are not necessarily those of this station or the Webster Rockhill Ministries, its management, or other host or underwriting sponsors. Programs presented on KWRH-LP are for educational and entertainment purposes only.
Welcome back to In Tune. This is Arnold Stricker with Ellie Wharton. We have in studio with us Bill Sauerwein from Pedego St. Louis. Bill, welcome to In Tune.
Well, Arnold and Ellie, thank you both for having me. This is great.
Well, this is going to be a lot of fun. I can tell that already. You seem like you are a ball of wax there.
Yes, I am having fun these days at Pedego St. Louis. I truly am.
So tell us, you weren't a bicycle manager, owner type in a previous life. Tell us a little bit about your previous life and how you got into this.
Well, professionally, I was an attorney for my entire career. Owned my own office in St. Louis, practiced in Clayton, had a wonderful group of people working for me, a lot of which were bicyclists, by the way, and then set a goal to retire early from that with the goal of starting another business. And then I searched out a business to open and arrived at a Pedego bike dealership. It just seemed to check all those boxes I was looking for in that second career. So far, it's been a wonderful thing.
No, and the things that you sent me, this was not something that you got to a point in your career as an attorney and said, okay, I need to do something else. You had been thinking about this, that you were going to devote so much time to being an attorney, and then you had other aspirations.
That's right. My secretary joked during her whole time working for me, which was about 28 years, that from the day I hired her, I told her, I'm going to do this for about 25 years, and then I'm going to do something else. I always had an interest in business, in owning businesses, and I kind of set that goal from day one.
And you were an entrepreneur all the way back to your youngster days, correct?
Well, I guess you could say that. I always think I learned a great deal about business when I was 13 years old and had a paper route. Because I had to buy my own product. I had to market to customers. I had to keep track of my receivables and payables. And of course, when you're a paper boy back in those days, you had the absolute responsibility to deliver those papers every day on time.
And in the right part of the lawn, too.
That's right.
That is key, because you could be throwing that paper and it could end up anywhere.
No matter what the weather either.
That's right.
Yeah.
Were you here in St. Louis doing this?
Actually, I was born and raised just across the river in Illinois, and my paper route was in Belleville, Illinois. But I just reflect back on all the responsibility and knowledge I gained from that job that I still used later in life as I owned my own law firm and talked with other business owners all the time in my practice.
So the moral of that story, kids, those of you who are listening on summer vacation from school, is that those jobs that may look menial have great value and great skills that you can learn that you can use the rest of your life.
That's right.
Well, the paper route, though, was always a very important one, and I was making joke about making sure that the paper was thrown in the right spot, because that could be a daily annoyance. When you come out and one day your paper is in the rose bush, and now you've got to go hike into the bush, to find it, or you've thrown it and it's on top of the roof.
Yeah.
There was precision in that as well. And I think even getting to know the likes and dislikes of each one of your customers. If you had an older person, trying to make sure that paper was closer to the front door.
Yep, I agree. I was going to say that you had to sort of know who you were delivering to. I would deliver them up to their front doors, or I would put them in the mailbox mostly. But if I had a customer back then who I knew might be physically disabled in somewhat, I made sure they had the paper every
Right. And the main one, you threw that up in the rafters the whole time.
Now, was this in the morning or after school?
It was back then. The paper was delivered after school, and so I would get home from school around 3 o'clock. I'd have to load my bike. I heard you talking about the the BMX bikes earlier. I had a big canvas satchel on the front of my bike. I would load it up with the papers, and I would take off on my route for about an hour and a half I'd always try to be back in time for Gilligan's Island.
That's
on
right.
TV.
Yeah.
Something really important. And then there was a skill
Absolutely.
involved with that, because that meant that you had to ride kind of one-handed, like with the left hand, right, while you flung with the right one. Is that what you did?
Well, I wasn't. We didn't fling back then so much as now they throw them out of the moving van.
That's right,
as you're
exactly.
going by. But no, back then we put every newspaper in the mailbox or took it up to someone's front door.
Wow.
A lot of getting on, getting off.
Yeah.
Getting on, getting off. Luckily, it wasn't a horse. That'd have been real problems.
That
Or
would.
one of those tall wheel bicycles.
Yeah, that's right. But if it had been a horse, you could have just ridden it right there to the front door.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
You know.
true.
Well, see, now if I had a horse, it would have driven my costs of doing business much higher because I
That's-
would have had to feed my horse all the time.
And clean up after it, too.
Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know what that's all about. So talk to us about Pedego. Tell us a little bit about this company. What are they like, and how long have they been around?
Pedego Electric Bikes has been around since around 2008. It's a company based in Huntington Beach, California, that manufactures and sells this unique brand of electric powered bicycles. They are battery powered. The battery powers a little hub motor that is designed specifically for the company that sits on the back wheel, or within the back wheel, I should say. The whole theory behind the Pedego bike is that it makes riding more fun. The rider is allowed to be on the bike for much longer than they would on a regular bike because they don't become exhausted. They're enjoying themselves. And because they're on the bike farther, they're out there getting exercise and just enjoying bicycling.
And how many different models do they make?
Yeah, Pedego makes 18 different models of bikes.
Sheesh.
So they make a couple, anything from the high-end mountain bikes that are now really seeing this advent of, battery power to assist the mountain bikers, to what I think is their principal line of products, which is the cruiser style bike and commuter style bike. You'll see when you go to California or anywhere along our southern states or up the East Coast where there's wind and hills and the weather's wonderful all the time, you'll see Pedego electric bikes everywhere. And especially in California where there's people riding on the beaches, where there's people outside constantly. They're outside on their Pedego bikes getting around where we might otherwise use cars here in the Midwest.
Yeah, very interesting, very interesting. The owner, there's two kind of co-founders. I know one of them had an electric bike shop.
Yeah.
And had accumulated the bicycles and eventually thought, well, the quality of these is not what they should be. And one of his best friends, they got together and they devised the company. And their motto, I love it, it's not a high-tech gadget or fancy bicycle component, it's the person riding it. The Pedego model is,
Hello, fun.
and their spokesperson is very famous, Space, the Final Frontier.
The Final Frontier.
These are the voyages of the starship, I should say, of the Pedego bicycle.
Enterprise.
William Shatner.
Now, well, let me just tell you, he really looks like the epitome of good health. I'm sorry.
You should see him on the Pedego commercials, though.
I have not seen him on the Pedego. I've seen him on the travel commercials that
Yes.
he would do. And I thought he was always quite funny doing that. So I could see
Yeah.
him doing that. But he just doesn't, to me, seem like, I could see you doing like a Tom Cruise or,
Well,
Maybe
he's
Shatner
got
needed
a
the money more.
fantastic sense of humor. And my understanding is he actually owned a Pedego before he became the spokesman,
Okay.
and then approached the company and said, listen, I love this bike. What can I do for you? What
Wow.
more can I do
wow.
for you?
Very cool.
Well, a guy that's been out in space like that, I mean, yeah, he would have something.
Yeah, he's been everywhere.
He's been everywhere. He's gone where no man has gone before.
So a lot of models to choose from. Let's talk about some things here. We talk about hill climbing, acceleration, power. I kind of want to take apart the bicycle themselves, not physically, but there's pedal assist. What does that exactly mean? Can I pedal and not use it at all, or how does that work?
So our bikes are just like regular bikes, except we like to say, except they're better. But what pedal assist does is once you select the level of battery power that you want to use, and you can change that while you're riding with our little LCD screen that's on the bike. It is what I like to say is behind your pedaling. So you'll be pedaling, and the pedal assist will sense when you need a little more energy on the pedals, and it will deliver that additional power from the battery immediately. And it does so often through this rear hub motor that sits on the back wheel. And it just makes pedaling easier. And you can pedal as much as you want or as little as you want. So if you have it on, say, level 1, then you're still doing most of the pedaling. It's definitely a human-powered machine. You're doing most of the pedaling, and the battery's just kind of in the background helping you. If you have it on level 5, the bike is doing most of the pedaling, and you are riding the bike and getting where you wanted to go just a little faster.
So you could actually not be pedaling, and you're still moving forward.
You could be doing that.
Going
kind
uphill.
Kind of like to me, that would be like a commuter mode.
Yes.
Where you're just, okay,
Right.
I've got my suit on and my nice dress and my nice pants. I don't want to get sweaty. So I just kind of sit there and steer and make sure that I get where I'm going.
Yes.
Versus the weekender, okay, now I'll put it on 1 and I really just want to really work out.
Right. I was a road cyclist for many, many years, and that was my weekend routine. Was I would get out and just, hammer it, just go, and pedal. And I realized that I'd be exhausted the rest of the day. I couldn't get anything else done on a Saturday. So this will help you with that. You can still go out and get exercise. You can still go to the places you want to go. But when you return, that power will help you defray some of that exhaustion, and you're going to be loving it. You're going to be enjoying it. And you return with a smile on your face.
Does that replace the gears?
No, it still has gears. It still ships like a regular bike. You can use it in coordination with the gears to sort of control your cadence of the pedals. So everybody pedals a little differently. Some people want to pedal a little faster, some slower. It is a bike, and just like a regular bike in that respect, is you can shift it.
So that little device then up on the handlebars must be like a little computer that monitors, and here we go with electronics and computers and what they're doing as I was thinking, well, shoot, that could replace a derailleur. You wouldn't even need gears. That would become your gears eventually.
Yeah, well, there are a lot of people who, when they own their Pedegos, and depending on how they feel when they're riding, they'll leave it in the same gear and then control the level of battery power through the LCD screen that's on the bike. It's more than just a screen. I mean, it is truly a computer. It has the pedal sense software in it that helps you pedal. You can plug your phone into it while you're riding and charge your phone from the battery. I mean, it has all kinds of uses for it.
Wow. Now, do they come in different sizes? Like, do you get them for children, for teens, for adults, or are they kind of just adult models at this point?
Yeah, it's mostly a bike made for adults. You have kids ride them. William Shatner's whole family rides them. His grandkids ride them. And a lot of people do that. I think the bikes are generally designed for adults, people who want to get back on the bike, or people who have been avid cyclists but for one reason or another have given it up, or were not able to continue cycling, and maybe they have arthritis in their knees or back or something like that, and then they all of a sudden come back to biking because of the electric pedal assisted bike.
Or they've fallen off the road somewhere.
Yeah, Costa Rica. Yeah.
And we're too traumatized to get back on a bike. I don't know who that could be.
I'm going to rent a car next time I go to Costa Rica. I'll tell you that.
Exactly. So, and there's some that are typical that you can fling your leg over or step through, and there's one even, I was talking to your wife, a walk through?
Yeah. Pedego's changed all that. We used to have male bikes and female bikes. That distinction has been done away with. Now the bikes are either step-through bikes where you can just pass your leg over the crank and pedals and comfortably get into the seat, or they still have the classic models that you throw your leg over and get on the seat and pedal. But Pedego also makes a model that they call the Boomerang, which is the ultimate step-through or walk-through bike, where it sits real low to the ground and you don't have to throw your leg over. You can easily mount the bicycle and get going, and it's perfect for someone that just doesn't want to, somebody that's a little older maybe and doesn't want to struggle leaning that bike down and getting their leg over it so they can take off for a ride.
Now, let me ask you a question, because you say it has a lithium battery. So how long is the battery life?
Well, it depends on the battery, but our longest acting battery will get you anywhere from 45 to 60 miles, depending on how much electricity and battery power you're using while you're riding the bike. There are some people who like that pedal assist a lot more, and then there are some others who will do a lot more pedaling, and the more pedaling you do, the longer the battery is going to get you. But 60 miles is a great round trip. I mean, it's
long.
Yeah, to ride that without battery power, that's a long trip. And here in St. Louis, that can, from our store, for instance, that can get you all the way down to the city and back. It can get you to Forest Park, where you can ride around and come back, and it can get you all over our great system of dedicated bike trails that have been built and constructed by Great Rivers Greenway.
Now, when you pedal, is it charging the battery at all, or is it strictly a plug in the battery to the electric when you need it?
That technology exists, but it's not on Pedego bikes because it adds a lot of expense to the bike, and frankly, you don't get much benefit for that. In other words, the amount of charge that's generated by your pedaling would only add a mile or two to your ride, and it's just not worth it. And the mechanism that charges the battery produces some friction on your pedaling, so it even makes it a little bit more of a struggle to pedal. So Pedego as a company has decided that until that technology evolves, they're not going to put that on their bikes.
Now, staying with the batteries, they're mounted on the back, above the back wheel, but can you mount them midway, or?
Yeah, depending on the model of bike, some of them just snap, the batteries just snap right onto the back of the bike. It's not a struggle to get that done. It's very easily exchanged or taken out if you want to charge it. And then they do have some models where the battery is integrated into the down tube of the bike, where it almost looks like it's hidden or concealed or part of the frame of the bike.
Now, I noticed that there's also on some of the bikes a throttle, and just kind of like a motorcycle then, I guess.
Well, it is and it isn't. Here in America, throttles are legal on these bikes. And what we like to use it for when we ride is if you're stopped at an intersection and you want that immediate delivery of power to get through the intersection, or maybe you're cresting the top of the hill and you've been pedaling for miles and miles and miles, you can use that throttle to give that immediate burst of power and pedal assist to help you through that particular, whether it's an intersection or a hill or something like that. So the throttle's there if you want it, and it doesn't have to be used if you don't want it.
So regular handbrakes, like a regular bicycle and things?
It's like a bicycle in every other respect. Regular handbrakes. Our bikes are built with spoked wheels, or we have mag wheels that you see now on a lot of bikes that are made for supporting a lot more weight, and they just look cool, I think. Comfortable seats, different types of handlebars. I mean, it's like biking, only better.
Yeah, there's one with the handlebars like the old style where they liked in England, where you really rode up high like that. You could change the handlebars like that.
But now I want to know, does it blow air-conditioned air at you?
If you go fast enough.
Yeah, you generate the air conditioning all on your own.
That is right. Now, I do have a question. This may sound very silly, but if you get caught in a rainstorm, are you in any danger of this bike shorting out?
No, these are all designed to be water resistant. They ride in the rain. It just doesn't affect them.
Good.
You can't submerge the batteries or do anything like that.
So don't ride
if
into
you
the river or anything like that.
Yeah, if you ran off the road in Costa Rica and ran on a river, you might have some problems. But recently I was at the Pedego headquarters in California, and there was a Pedego dealer there from Ketchikan, Alaska, and he runs Pedego bicycle tours up there. And if you know anything about Ketchikan, it rains all the time. And almost always when he's taking people out for tours, it's raining. And the Pedego bikes just don't give him any, there's just no issues with that.
Do you all have like classes to teach people how to ride them?
Well, not classes, because it's not that much different than riding a bike. It really isn't. So it really doesn't take any time to learn how to ride one. It takes just a couple minutes to learn how to operate the battery and the computer on the bike. But once you're on the bike, it's the same skills and fundamentals that you'd utilize when you're bicycling.
I was going to ask you a very similar question to what Ellie asked you. What was the surprise when you first got on one? What surprised you about it, and what was like, oh, well, that's not so bad?
Yeah, the surprise to me was this indescribable sensation of just enjoying yourself again. You know, I mean, it's like I'm back on the bike. I can go, a little faster when I want to. And just the sensation of being kind of free to go a little farther on the bike, not have to worry about the turnaround. I heard you talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
And this haunting feeling that, boy, I better get back because I'm going to get tired. I mean, it is just a lot of fun. And I think that was what surprised me the most. It looks like you're getting on a normal bike, but when you come back, you just can't get the grin off your face.
And you can actually do more things the day. You're not just worn out, tired.
Yeah, which I always get asked to do yard work. So,
That's right, of course.
I don't know how I feel about that. But,
well, this is so exciting because it's taking bicycles, and you probably heard Arnold talking about the history of bicycles a long time, and it goes back so far, and now we're seeing this evolution of the bicycle at this level.
Makes you wonder where the next evolution is going to be. Quick question, top speed.
Top speed is 20 miles an hour. So our bikes are all Class 2 electric bikes, so they're calibrated and governed to reduce the electric power and cut it off when you get to 20 miles an hour.
But there are, like, the Class 3s can go up to, 28, 25 miles an hour?
I'm not sure what their top level of speed is, but what I do know is that to ride them on the trails in St. Louis and to get away from the classification as a motor vehicle, the fact that they're calibrated to stop at 20 miles an hour is a really good thing.
Your shop, it's right at the trailhead at Grants Trail over in Kirkwood, kind of behind QT and, over there at Leffingwell.
Right by the county library.
Right back there, and that's where their store is. And you also rent bikes there for the trail and things like that.
Oh, now that's a good idea. That you can kind of test drive one beforehand. You can rent it and see if it really is something that you like to do.
And kick the tires.
Yeah, I like that idea because I'm sure that it is a little bit of an investment, and so before you would make that kind of an investment, you'd want to know, is it really something that you would want to do? But it sounds like once you try it, you're going to be like Pringles potato chips.
You're hooked.
You're hooked.
Just can't.
No, a lot of our customers rent before they buy.
We're talking about Pedego bicycles with Bill Sauerwein of Pedego St. Louis. Tell us a little bit about the store, and when somebody goes in, like you guys did a total renovation. It's very beautifully done. Was over there last week and just stopped in, and you were gracious enough to talk and got a chance to see some of the bicycles, and there were people walking in. You've got this overhang that you can get some barbecue going and get people coming off the trail wanting to barbecue. I'm just,
Yeah, we're not there yet. We're no food available, but yes, we've built a brand new store right at 44 in Big Bend. It also is adjacent to the Bravo Greenway and the trailhead, the Oakland trailhead of the Grants Trail. And when you walk inside, it's filled with nothing but Pedego electric bikes. and accessories to support those bikes. And so we don't sell regular bikes, but we only sell the Pedego electric bikes. We sell Burley trailers, which is a great brand of child carrier and even a pet carrier. And we also sell Thule bike racks that can attach to your car, and you can take your bike anywhere you want to go. So it's really a neat location. We're really enjoying it.
And that's a question. Will all bike racks, regular bike racks for like regular bikes, hold the Pedego bikes?
Well, a lot of the kind of bike carriers or trailers that attach to the, say, rear window of your car or strap around the door of your car, things like that, they're designed to support a lighter bike. And ours, between the motor and sometimes the battery and things like that, that it can be kind of a heavier bike. So Thule, one of the best brands in designing these type of carriers, has designed one just for electric bikes. It supports that weight. You can actually, it has a little ramp that you can drive your bike, ride your bike right up onto the trailer that attaches to the hitch on your SUV or car, and you never have to lift your bike. It's just a neat design. It's a wonderful thing.
So what is the weight of the bike, would you say?
Our bikes are anywhere from about 45 to 50 pounds without the battery. And some of them are like the mountain bikes are a little lighter than that. But once you attach the battery makes up about 10 pounds of the weight of the bike. And so the battery is kind of a heavy thing, and most of the bikes with the battery are about 60 pounds.
Wow, okay.
The difference is you don't notice it. So if you were pedaling a 60-pound bike down the Grants Trail that didn't have pedal assist, you would really notice that weight. But you don't notice it when you're being powered by a battery and it's helping you pedal this heavier than average bike.
So where do you generally ride your bike, and other than, of course, on the trail?
Well, lately I've been riding it to the bike store and back, but we ride everywhere. I mean, my wife and I really started getting into this culture and this lifestyle where we will, instead of driving our car to the grocery store to do a little grocery shopping for just the two of us, we'll ride our bikes and we'll fill our backpacks with groceries, or you might have a basket on the front of your bike that you can fill with groceries to bring home. We ride them into Kirkwood and Webster in the evening to go out to dinner. I run quick errands and local errands on my bike now rather than in my car. And then, of course, when we want to just go out and enjoy ourselves, we have this beautiful trail system so close to our homes that we get on the trails and ride back and forth on the trails.
And in certain communities, people are much more bicycle aware than other communities. Ellie's like, maybe not where I'm riding, but I know, even in the city of St. Louis, they've converted streets to, I should say roads, to more, there's bicycle lanes on them now. They've gone from 4 lanes to now there's 2 lanes for cars and 2 lanes for bicycles.
Right. The city's become, just in the last I'd say 5 or 6 years, much more bike friendly and much more bike aware. It's really helping with that commuter lifestyle where people want to live close to a city core and they want to ride their bike to work when the weather's nice. So that really helps. And when you go to most major cities, you'll see that they have a very loyal bike community and bike-friendly streets everywhere. And here where we are in the Kirkwood and Webster area, you'll see more and more of the striped bicycle lanes, much more bicycle racks in the downtown cores of Webster and Kirkwood and Rock Hill and everywhere where you can, lock your bike up while you go visit a retail store or a restaurant or a store.
I noticed Manchester Road, when you go from roughly McCausland east, is set up for bikes. It's because it's flat. That's one of the, if you follow the bike St. Louis paths too, they're trying to keep you away from hills and keep you away from those, the steep climbs, like at least going from here down and up into Webster, or that's a tough hill going up there.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I would not ride on Manchester and Rock Hill.
Oh, not in Rock Hill. No, I mean east of Maplewood.
Yeah, east of Maplewood is different. But
yeah.
Here I always say, when you're coming out of those restaurants and stores that are on Manchester.
It's bad enough in a car.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. Between McKnight and Barry, you take your life into your hands trying to come out onto, especially at rush hour.
Yeah.
Don't go in there and try to get some nacho mamas and then come out.
No, Manchester's a difficult road, that stretch.
Very difficult.
To negotiate on your bike. But once you start cycling and get out there more, you find the back roads that help you avoid it, and you can get to the same place you want to go just through a neighborhood or somewhere.
And what's nice about that is you get to know your community quite a bit better.
Yeah, I would think so.
And get to know some shortcuts and places like, wow, I never even saw this.
It's fun. You tend to, the one thing I've noticed about cycling more is that you tend to notice your surroundings a lot more than you do when you're in a car.
Yes.
And you're worried about traffic. When you've slowed it down and you're riding a bicycle, you can look around and smell the roses a little bit more, if you will.
Where do you think bicycles are going to be going, Bill, in the next decade or 2 decades? It's kind of like audio, where we go from the old phonograph, the wax, and then we went to 78s, and then we went to 33s and 45s and cassette tape and 8-track tape and CD players, and now where bicycles do you think they're going to evolve to?
Well, I personally think we've just begun this electric bicycling phase. I listened to you and Ellie talk about the long history of bikes, and what struck me about all that is that until recently, there really hadn't been much change in a bicycle. And when you think about it, it was 2 wheels, and then pedals came on, and then, it kind of stayed that way for a long time. Recently, technology to make bikes lighter, to make bikes user-friendly, to make them go faster came about. And we've just entered this phase where electric cycling, I think, is going to be the norm for the next phase of bicycling and the technology involved. Right now, we have this wonderful technology that Pedego is out in the forefront of developing that makes it easier to pedal, as all the things we've been talking about. And I think that particular technology is going to develop in ways that the consumer demands. They might want more information in terms of electronics. They might want the battery stored in different places on the bikes, or the batteries to become smaller and travel farther.
I just want air conditioning blowing on me.
Yeah. Well, that's something we're going to have to work on. Maybe on the handlebars.
Yeah, something like it's just blowing.
You need a windshield.
But I truly believe that the electric cycling is not only here to stay, but it's going to be around for a while. Really, it only comprises about 5% of bicycle sales worldwide right now. And I think that's going to creep up to around the 30 to 40% range.
Yeah, I would think that once this hits Europe, though, where they are a little more attuned to the bicycling, and it's like when I went to Barcelona, everybody was on the little mopeds. Women, men, children, babies even had their own mopeds. Everybody was baby ped.
Well, Europe's probably farther along than America in electric bicycling, believe it or not. There are numerous brands that have been around over there as long as Pedego has been. Pedego has a number of stores over in Italy and London and Spain and places like that. And it's truly an international brand, but battery-powered bicycling is really prevalent over there. Just the other day, we had a foursome drop by to rent some bikes from our store in Pedego, and they were all from New Zealand.
Oh.
And they were talking about how in New Zealand, battery-powered bicycles are just the standard bike on trails.
Wow.
And how they use them to go from town to town all the time. There's quite a bit of wind, in New Zealand, and lots of hills, and they use the battery-powered bicycles. And I'm telling you, this group knew exactly what to do. They jumped on the bike and knew how to use it and took off, and were just very familiar with them.
That's very interesting.
Well, and I do find that because in Europe, you have a space problem, and so you don't have room for large cars and lots of parking lots and things like that. I found that was the easiest way for people to get around. And gasoline, I will tell you, was very expensive.
Right.
So I could see this really being something that helps us with gasoline consumption, parking spaces. So many things could be impacted by it, even in terms of our apparel and the types of things that you wear in order to go out on it. So I see it so can we invest at this stage? Wouldn't
that be nice?
Yeah, kind of like a Microsoft, get it while it's just starting up.
Yeah. You mentioned the two founders earlier, or the owners of the company. They're great creative guys who I think just have a wonderful product, and so I've kind of invested personally in this product. But beyond that, it's not a
stock market
publicly
yet.
traded. No, that's not a publicly traded company. And you also mentioned, just to go back to something Ellie said about how you have to dress, and that's one of the things about cycling that. It was always a big project. You had to put your Lycra shorts on. You had to have your dry wicking shirt to get out because you knew you were going. Your gloves made it more comfortable to ride, and you have to clip into the pedals. And I would end up spending, you almost spend as much on your bike as you do on the gear to ride them. Right. And the battery-powered Pedego electric bikes sort of alleviate the need for that. If you're in a pair of jeans, you can get out and ride these. I'm in a pair of shorts and t-shirt now almost every day that I wear around the store, and this is what you wear when you're bicycling. And if you're going to a restaurant in one of the communities around here, you can ride these bikes dressed as you would dress for the restaurant. So it really makes biking a little more comfortable, a lot more comfortable.
That's why it's Hello Fun.
I think that is a great line. Hello Fun. Because that is what we're all looking for. We are looking for fun. We're looking for convenience. And I know that people will pay more for fun and convenience. Now, I will have to ask, you don't have to tell me a price. Like, this is not The Price is Right. Okay. But is this expensive? Am I going to have to take out a bank loan to get it like I do a car?
No, it's not any more expensive than a regular bike. So if you go out and buy a good road bike these days, you're going to spend $3,000 to $10,000. But the Pedego electric bikes range. They make models that sell for about $1,800. And then they make some that sell for around $5,000 to more than that. But I would say the average price, the most popular models sell for right around $3,000 to $3,500, depending on the size of battery you get. Yeah,
sure, that's not bad.
Depending on the extras on the bike and things of that nature.
No, that's not bad at all.
Yeah. Tell us again where your store is located.
We're located at 801 South Holmes in the Kirkwood and Oakland area, so 63122. Our store is just off Big Bend and 44, right on the Gravois Greenway Grants Trailhead, and right behind the Oak Bend branch of the county library.
And you have a Facebook page?
We do. You can friend us on Facebook. We have a website that is www.pedegostlouis.com, and there you can find all the information about the bikes, the products we sell, and the rentals on the bikes as well.
Excellent. Bill Sauerwein, thank you for coming in to talk to us on In Tune today.
Thank you guys so much. It was a pleasure meeting you both, and I really, really enjoyed myself.
Well, we can't wait till the show's over. We can tool around the parking lot.